Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mamani and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. I hope you all are doing good and you all are happy and ready to go through the Hindu analysis of the day. Now, dear friends, I was reading comments yesterday and I saw one comment regarding this motivation stuff, or this quotation part should be ignored. Now, let me tell you, I have said this earlier on as well, and let me repeat myself here that this is not for motivation. Yes, it may sound strange. If you ask me personally, then I don't believe that much in motivation. What I believe in, and it's not just I believe, this is something that I have tried and tested. I don't believe in motivation because what I think motivation is basically it will give you a kick for a very short period of time. Say for example, you watch a beautiful movie, or if you are reading a book or something, then of course motivation is not all bad, I must say, but the duration of motivation is very short. But instead, if you apply technologies, right, these are technologies. Generally what we feel is that all the gadgets and smartphones and other things, we think that technology is limited to all these devices. But the thing is, there are many things, that they are hard to, you can say, to measure. Like say for example, breath. If you go through the science of Buddha, again I'm using the word science of Buddha, then you will find that he has talked about breath. And today, if you go through this latest this research going on in terms of psychology and other things, right, in science area, you can refer the material of California University and Berkeley University and other ones as well. And at present, even these universities, even doctors in America, they are referring to adopt meditation, and they are also talking about this sort of things, and these are technologies. This is what I see. So do give it a go. That's why I tell you many a times that do give it a go, do try it and then find out. It's not necessary that one particular, like this sitting posture of meditation, will work for everyone. For some of you, it would be swimming meditation. There are 118 meditation that I know about. So it depends, right? So many a times things don't work for you, but for other people they do work. Right, so I believe it's enough for now, as it's a Saturday, so I have took a little bit of liberty to discuss this thing in detail with you. Now, dear friends, StudyIQ provides pen drive and tablet courses for various different exams. On your screen, you can see the things that we offer, the range of items that we cover. To find out more about it, all you have to do is check out StudyIQ.com. Now, today is Saturday, you have one editorial page. So here you have this murky mining. It is about Goa. This one is about fiscal risks increasing. This one is about testing the diagnosis, and this one is about Germany and the political scenario going on in Germany. This one is a very important article of the day as far as I know. So let's start with this one. And the thing is, this article, right, it is written by a person who is of course from, if you don't know, then this person is representing the scientific medical system, right, the latest one, or the allopathy that we call. So of course his views are going to be a little bit against this traditional system of medicine, but that does not mean that he is biased. He is putting his own points, and it is up to us to pick up the best things. And there are many questions as well. I will leave this article with many food for thoughts for you guys, so think about it. Of course I will try my level best to break it down or make it as simple as possible. Right, so at the end of the day, all medical systems strive for one purpose: help the ill get well, isn't it? This is the main job of, may it be Ayurveda, may it be this traditional Chinese system in which you have this acupressure and acupuncture and other things. They talk about this life, right, qi, this Chinese system, qi or qi, I don't know the right pronunciation, but I'm sure you might have seen this symbol here, right, this white and black, in many Chinese films, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan's films and other films as well. So you find this Chinese system. I'm sure you are aware about Ayurveda. We have different centers in our country, and it's not only in our country. Nowadays you find them in different parts of the world as well. Even some islands in West Indies, you find Ayurvedic centers over there, right? So coming back to this 4 systems, right? The first one is Ayurveda, then you have this Chinese system, then you have this homeopathy. And one of the main, you can say, philosophy of homeopathy is, if I say philosophy or method or tool, is likes cure likes. That means, say for example, if A is something that is creating trouble in your body, then you will be provided doses of A in small amount, in controlled amount, so that like cures like. So this A will cure this A that is creating problem in your body. Now let me explain, all the doctors out there, I am not master, I must admit, when it comes to medical science. I am, in fact, I can say that I am a master of none and jack of all, right? So I beg your pardon if I'm not being too technical. Here my main motive is to throw some light on the things said by this writer, and also try to understand and connect that dot between current affairs and our understanding, and of course your mains examination, because this is something I see in terms of I see this thing in terms of this public health, how we can deliver the best thing. Now there is a very, you can say, you can imagine of an ideal situation. This may be unrealistic at this point of time, but we never know, in future this could be a thing as well. Again, I would like to give you the same example of aeroplane. If you are in Mughal era and if you are talking about aeroplane, then of course they will treat you as you have lost your mind, isn't it? But now it is a very simple thing. You can buy a ticket and you can fly high in the sky, and you can enjoy all the luxuries that you can enjoy on the ground. So things have changed, right? New technologies, new research in science, so you never know what is going to be the things that we consider fictitious or myth in today's era, or unachievable or impossible now, could be something very common tomorrow. So ideal situation, or the most romantic way of thinking about medical health, would be that you visit a hospital and you go there, and the doctor will say that the things from which you are suffering, the best thing can be, or your cure is in this Chinese system. Imagine a scenario, or they will say that mix of both Ayurveda and Chinese system, or mix of latest medical, or this article is talking about scientific medical system, or I will use the word allopathy. So treatment could be done with the help of mix of both, or mix of 3 things, or mix of 4 things, whatever. So this would be the most, you can say, best system. But at present it is something that is not possible, because it is nearly impossible for one person to be expert in everything. The other thing is that I'm sure you might have observed this thing as well, that when it comes to traditional medicine and scientific medicine, right, you always find that they are against each other. Something is visible here in this article as well, though you find a couple of mentions over here and there, that here you find that when it comes to accountability, this article is saying that a doctor should be accountable. Right, whatever medicine, if a doctor is prescribing to you, then that doctor should ensure that you are not going to be, or if there is going to be any harm, many times you have to face some side effects as well, so that should be as minimum as possible. But as far as this traditional therapies are concerned, most of the time, right, they are risk free, so they do not create any sort of harm. So this is a positive point in terms in this article is, or this writer is saying in favor of this traditional system. But the problem is that most of the time we find that these 2 systems are against each other. This is the biggest problem, because what happens is that if you are trained in, say for example, this latest, or you can say this allopathy thing, then what I have observed, I'm adding some personal experiences over here as well. If you have a chat with a doctor and if you talk about Ayurveda, then straight away they will reject this thing, that no, that is not going to work. And if you have a word with someone, or if you discuss things with someone who is from this traditional medicine background, then they will say that these modern medicines are they will create this renal failure, or your kidneys will be damaged, too heavy medicines, and you do this and that, and they will do this and that with your body, and etc. So the trainers, I think, or this whole system, rather than thinking about building a common bridge, and a couple of days ago, remember a couple of weeks ago, in fact, the government of India came out with this plan that we will have. This is the reason why you find this article, because government of India said that we are trying to build a bridge between this traditional system and this traditional systems of different branches, and this modern, or you can say this allopathy. So now the thing is what science is all about, and here you find a very good definition of science, that scientific medicine can and must question and revise dogmas, concepts, explanations, and therapeutics through research inquiries. That is what science is all about. So basically we can also say, like, turning on your fan or light, or turning off or turning on your light, say for example, is, of course, science is there, isn't it? But now it has been proven that you use a switch there, then there is a circuit, and then you have a electric power coming in, and then you have this light here. So this is a model, right? This is a model that is proven. If you do it anywhere in the world, then you will get the same result as far as you have all these necessary items. Same thing happens with this allopathy as well, that these methods are standardized, right? You have this standardized method. And let me give you one more example of standardization. McDonald's, right? I'm not promoting that you should eat McDonald's, it is your choice, but what I'm saying is that if you visit a McDonald's in Bangalore, or if you visit a McDonald's in Kashmir, say for example, you will find, generally speaking, the same taste of the same item, because the methods are standardized. They have devised this thing that for 2 minutes you will cook this and that, and then finally this burger or whatever will be ready and it will be served to the customer. So standardization is something that you find with allopathy. And when it comes to this traditional medicines, right, then you have too much of customization. So it depends. It depends on the doctor. It depends on your body as well. Ayurveda and other traditional medicines, these branches, they consider your body as a whole. So if you are having a headache, it's not something that is limited to your head. They will check your legs or some other parts as well, because everything is connected with each other as far as this traditional system is concerned. So I hope I'm not confusing you too much with too much of discussion, but so this is the thing, right? You have these arguments going on, and as I told you that these are food for thoughts. You have this one more argument of free versus paid, right? Ayurveda and other traditional medicines, they say that it is about humanity, and it is about providing health is something that is free. Everyone has right on health, and these medicines should be provided free. And they argue that this latest allopathy thing is charging too much amount of money. Of course, when you put your leg in the shoe of allopathy system, then you find that all this big gadgets that you use for your MRI and other things, they cost crores and crores of rupees, isn't it? And after 4 or 5 years, you have new machines coming out in the market, so you have to use those machines, and you have to, of course, as a business, you have to recover the money that you have spent and things like that. So there is also one more argument of free versus paid. One is about customization and standardization, but at the end of the day, I would say that yesterday we were talking about research, isn't it? So research is a thing we are not giving that much, we are not putting that much effort, or universities are not being provided all these tools and other funds and other support that is required. If you go through experts in terms of education and research, then you will find one statement, one bottom line. You will find that if you compare ourselves with other countries, then we are not doing that much research. And even though the researchers that are going on in our country, they are in terms of quality inferior to other countries. So this is one of the root cause, right? If we are not ready to invest, or if we are not ready to do research on this thing, then we will always have this opposition thing going on, and we never know, as we have gone through this science definition, we never know. This could means this integration can take place or cannot take place, but that can be done, that can be said only after you have proven that this is not possible. So some medicines of Ayurveda, they do work. We also know that some allopathy medicines are harmful, so we have to do more and more research on this thing. And if you go through books of APJ, I think I'm mentioning this second or third time, but there was a village in Andhra Pradesh somewhere, in his book 2020, India 2020 or something. I forgot the title of that book, but I have gone through that book a couple of times, and it talks about one example of how roots of that particular tree was used to purify the water. And then one researcher found that this can be used for purifying if a water is affected by this radiation thing, like this Fukushima. So it can be used. That tree was having that quality, that tree root, and this was found by this tribal people living in that forest. So there are many things on which researchers, we need to throw some more light. We have to take all these things into our labs. So one of the most important article, and I think we have discussed enough on this thing. Now moving on to another item, and this is about this murky mining. The mining activity in Goa should now begin on a clean slate. The thing is that Supreme Court's recent order, and it has ordered that it has cancelled, in fact it has terminated 88 licenses of this mining licenses that were given by the government of Goa to various different companies. And the thing is, because Goa is a very ecologically fragile state, and the reason why it is ecologically fragile state is because it is a state from where you find this Western Ghat, right? Western Ghat is passing from. This Western Ghat is considered as the hottest biodiversity hotspot in the world. Most of the new species that we find in our country, they are from this part, Western Ghat. And the way things are going on, minings and other things, we know the state of our country, and it's not just about our country, around the world. When it comes to quality of life and when it comes to quantity, strangely we have chosen quantity, isn't it? It is the money that matters rather than fresh air, and I am being blunt here, and the results are visible. Travel in any major city of our country and you will find the truth. So this is the thing, and Supreme Court has rightly said that these licenses are cancelled because you have not taken into consideration the rules and regulations that are already laid by central government and your state government. Now in this Goa Foundation case, commercial mining activity as per Supreme Court can be rapacious in the absence of clearly laid down and strictly enforced condition. The other thing is that when these fresh leases were issued back in 2015, at that point of time as well, the government, the state government did not bother to go through or go through the revised reports, because you know that if I give you license to carry on, say for example mining, then I will have some scientific backing that for next 5 to 10 years, whatever things that I have, they are enough for me to think and decide that for next 5 years this much damage is going to be there. And after 5 years, say for example, if I'm reissuing you license, then of course I have to have some fresh data, like how much damage has been caused, this was projected, how much real damage has happened, and things like that. So this was not taken into consideration. Goa's argument is that that mining and other things are important for its economy. It brings a foreign exchange and provides employment and supports transport industry and things like that. On the other side, Goa, we know, is famous in our country as well as around the world. Yes, around the world as well. It is famous for tourism. And there are many reports, and this has been proven as well, that if you invest in, say for example, tourism, you create more jobs, you create more wealth. when you compare it with your manufacturing sector. So a country like India or a state like Goa, right, we have a reasonable amount of young population. So if we can create some opportunities for them in service sector, then the money that Goa is making will be enough for everyone to find a good employment and job, and things will be sorted out. And because we also found this thing in Goa itself, in Satari Taluka, right, people were protesting for contaminated groundwater and foul air and things like that. So as I told you, these things are visible throughout our country. So the stand taken by this Supreme Court is right. We have to take strict measures, because many a times we find that state and central governments, because of various different reasons, right, they have to go, or they give more emphasis to this economic benefits rather than long-term ecological benefits. Still, we can say we are not that mature when it comes to, if you see some other countries, then they will take tough stand even at the loss of economy, because they know that today you may be earning money, but tomorrow you would be spending more. You would be spending more, right, after the health of your citizens and things like that. So right decision. Now it is up to Goa government to start, as this line says, start this whole mining activity on a clean slate. This one is about back together. It is about politics in Germany. Very briefly, right, you have two parties. One is this CDU, and then you have this SPD party. And the CDU, the head of this CDU is Angela Merkel. She has been German Chancellor since 2005, and they have been in coalition since 8 years. But things became a bit shaky during last election that took place in 2017 general election, and at that point of time they were against each other, and there was a big political turmoil in Germany. And this whole thing started with Mr. Trump coming in USA. Then we had elections in Netherlands, France, UK. We saw change of guard, and we also saw this Brexit and elections in other parts as well. So extreme right groups, right, or extreme right ideologies are gaining ground in Europe. And Europe is famous for democracy and nationality and other things, right? If you go through the background of all these things, then you find that you will reach Europe. So now people are from different parts of West Asia and Africa. They are heading towards Europe, and we see this thing in news as well, that many people die because of their boats getting capsized and things like that. So why they are heading towards Europe? Because they argue that you are the one who ruled us for many long years. So now we don't find enough food in our country. We have this war situation going on. So we are going to knock your doors, and we are coming over there. And Europe means it is in fact in a good state as far as development is concerned. It is rich continent, no doubt. You have some poor countries in Europe as well, but then you have European Union and these rich countries supporting each other. So Germany is one of the most powerful in terms of economy, in terms of technology and other things, right? It is the most powerful country in Europe. And when you find that government in Europe, there is a political turmoil where you find this extreme right group who are against this idea of Europe or EU, who are against this idea of or who are against this anti-immigrant. I think someone asked a question that what is the difference between immigrant and migrant? Let me throw a quick light on this thing. Say for example, we are Indians, right? So if we are going to USA, right, so from here from India I have migrated to USA, and for USA I have immigrated, right? So incoming, if someone is coming into India, then we can say they are immigrants, and for their country they are going to be migrants. So I hope this is clear. Again, you can use Google. Google will explain this thing in a bit much more in-depth fashion. This one is about so that's basically everything about it. Now they have these two parties. They are again working together. They have decided, they have given this political pragmatism, because more logic and reasoning, they have decided it is better to shake hands now rather than giving, or rather than allowing these right groups to make or to take advantage of the problems going on between these two, CDU and SPD. This one is about fiscal risks increasing. Now, if you go through this whole article, then you find many figures in it, right? You'll find many numbers given here, and of course it is written by economists, so you find facts and figures, and that's fine, it's all right. You can go through them. You can read this article as well if you like, but let me give you the gist of this article, right? I'm just going to provide you the gist. Now, back in 2003, this Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management (FRBM) Act was enacted, and in 2004 rules were framed for this thing, and the main purpose of this FRBM was to come out with a fiscal deficit target. Now, strange words, right? Fiscal deficit. Let me explain this thing to you, and then we will be done with this today's editorial page. So fiscal deficit basically means government spending, when government is spending more than what it is getting in revenue. So simple is your income or your incoming money, right, or revenue here, revenue is less than what you are spending or what is going out. Simple is that. So at the end of the day, what will happen is you will have less money, isn't it, in your pocket? Or there could be that if you are earning 100 and if you are spending 110, so naturally this 110, either if you have some money in your saving, then you will use that, or you will borrow it from someone else. So this is how it works. So this is very simple and very layman's language definition of this fiscal deficit. Now, how you will, if you think of the government, then you can take example of your family as well. I'm sure we all have, either in terms of family or personally, we have faced sometimes this sort of situation where we have to borrow money from someone. May it be for temporary purpose, right? May it be for one day or few hours or whatever. But when we borrow it, because we are spending more than what we have in our pocket at that point of time, or maybe in our bank. Anyways, so I hope this thing is clear. Now, how you as a government, like when government is facing this sort of situation, fiscal deficit situation, then what it will do is it will issue bonds, right? So you buy this, get these bonds, and you have this government bonds, and of course the reason why you purchase these bonds is because you are going to get interest. You are going to get interest from the government, because what it does basically is government will issue bonds, and you will pay the money, so the money will go to the government, and now government will have to pay you interest. So this is not always bad, but it is risky as well. If you are borrowing too much, then a time will come then that you want to be able to pay it back, and then interest, you have to pay interest and things like that. So you can understand the pressure on the government. The other way to sort this thing out, or this fiscal deficit, you can print money, right? You print more money. But what happens is that when too much money is there in the market, then the value of money will come down. Refer to my latest bi-monthly RBI policy analysis that we have done a couple of days ago, right? So in that one as well, I have explained it is all about demand and supply. If the supply of money is too much, then its value will come down. Imagine when you have 10,000 rupees in your pocket, you won't think about spending 50 and 30 or 100 rupees. It will look so small to you. You will say, that's fine, I can do it. But when you have just 1,000 rupees, and if you have to travel to different states, then at that point of time, even 20 rupees, 10 rupees will be of too much value to you. In the same way, when you print too much money, the value of money will come down, and this will kick inflation, because now when you have money, now when the person who is selling products and services in the market, he or she would be knowing this thing, that as you have money, you would be ready to spend a bit extra, so the prices will go up. Again, using very layman's and very basic examples here. So this is how it works. And the third one is you can increase your tax. But you know it very well that when you increase your tax, people of the citizens want to be happy about it. Then you can cut your spending. Spending can come down. But when you cut down your spending, then other facilities, right, you will have to reduce all these facilities and other things. Say for example, if you are a pensioner, then you like more and more facilities, you would expect more and more facilities, and you are not wrong as well. So when you reduce your spending, then quality of life and other things will get affected. So it is a bit of tricky thing. Now you have different groups of economists, right? There is one group of economists, they are known as Keynesians, right? They say that fiscal deficit is good because when government is spending, right, when the outgoing money of government is more, and when government is spending, say for example, after different facilities, and if it is creating infrastructure and other things, right, so this will create more jobs. When government is spending money, if it is creating this houses for poor, then more construction companies will supply all these things, and you know, this cement and steel and other things, and many people will get new jobs, and these people, once they have jobs, they will spend money in the economy, and this way it will get a kick. For example, this economy will get a kick. The other idea, or the people, there are other economists who say that the government should always be in surplus. So this is why you have this FRBM rule. So if you are, and basically why what this article is talking about is that every time what we see is that FRBM. Now one more, before moving ahead, one more thing that I would like to add here is that you have some exemptions as well under this FRBM Act. So say for example, if we are in a state of war, or if there is a natural calamity, then you can cross this fiscal deficit limit, it's fine. But in normal circumstances, what is happening for a very long period of time in our country is that we have constantly amended. We have amended this rule in 2012 and 2015, in the latest budget as well, that this fiscal deficit target to GDP ratio of 3%. Now we have shifted it to 2021. So if we keep on doing this thing, if we keep on amending this thing, then what will happen at the end of the day is that, you know, this different analysis agencies around the world, this Moody's, Standards and Poor, and then the sentiment of this private investors, right, they will not have that much confidence in the government, and because of this thing, you won't be able to reduce your interest rates. And when you are not able to reduce your interest rate, then loans will become more expensive, or they will stay expensive, and this will not encourage businessmen to borrow loans, and they will not invest. Foreign investors, they will not invest money because they will not have trust on you because of the reports of different agencies. So this is how it works. This is how it is interrelated with each other. So I hope this is clear. And one more thing, last one, is that in budget 2018, now 3 focus area. One is agriculture and rural livelihood, infrastructure and education, health and social sector. In this thing as well, much of the thing, right, like nearly 80% is going to be done by extra budgetary resources. Again, you have to pay interest on this thing, and now you know the impact of too much interest if you have to pay. So that's everything regarding it. With this, we reach to news item. In the first item that we have is this Maldives crisis going on. Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump, they had a telephonic conversation with each other, and they have talked about this 2+2 ministerial level meeting, when you have your defense minister and foreign minister and foreign secretary and defense secretary, and all them chatting or having discussion with each other. So this is the thing. They talked about this Indo-Pacific, they talked about this crisis going on in Maldives, they talked about this Rohingya refugee crisis and denuclearization of North Korea and things like that. Regarding this Maldives crisis, I would like to add here that earlier on as well, Maldives, the country of Maldives, they have referred this 3 countries as this Pakistan, Saudi Arabia and China, right? The people of Maldives, or this political powerful people, they have said that these 3 countries are their best friends, and this is something that is not very well taken by India, right, for obvious reasons. So this is the thing going on. We are monitoring it, and again it is an update regarding things going on in Maldives. Nasheed, who is the ex-president of Maldives, he has said that I have faith in India, and apart from all the countries taking interest in it, it is only India that can work as a game changer as far as this Nasir is concerned. This one is about Loya's case, not being too speedy, but again, this is just an update, arguments going on in the court. Then you have this ties, political thing, not paying too much attention here, just providing you update that BJP and TDP, you can say the problems in this allies, right? They are, means this partnership is not at its best. So again, we have to wait and watch on this thing. Lok Sabha is adjourned till March 5, and now you have find this thing here, 0 hours and question hours. So what is it all about? Do find out. It is a research work for you. Tomorrow Sunday, so you have extra time, I believe. Can court sessions be live streamed? Some of the cases that are of national and international importance can be live streamed, and this takes place in different parts of the world. Of course, the way they do it is different. Some of them you can have live access, some of them they release recorded versions and things like that. So argument is going on. Supreme Court has asked assistance of Attorney General on this thing. Prime Minister is going to be in this part of the world, right? West Asia. He has already been here in this country of Jordan, Oman, and then now he's in fact heading towards Palestine. And so in Palestine, this is going to be the first time that Indian Prime Minister is visiting Palestine. He had a word with King Abdullah of Jordan, and they talked about the regional peace and security and things like that. Again, this sort of things are curtain raiser. So we are just throwing some light on things going on. From today, we will find more updates on this visit of Prime Minister to in 3 countries of West Asia. This visit in Jordan was basically a transit visit. So he's going to visit this Yasser Arafat, who is a famous leader, who was a famous leader in fact in this West Asia. Then you have updates from UAE, freedom of worship for Indian workers and professionals. You have Hindu temples and gurudwaras over there, and security and counter-terrorism corporations are going to be there. Afghanistan, a very unique area you find here in Afghanistan. It is known as Wakhi, and you have a tribe called Wakhi, just in case if you find a question in MCQ. And this one, you find a place called Pamir Knot. Pamir Knot is a place where 3 of the highest mountain ranges in the world, they converge here. This is the place here. You can see Tajikistan, China, Pakistan is here, and this portion here, not far from our this POK, or you can say our Kashmir part, that is at present with Pakistan. So this portion is not far from here. This is Wakhan corridor. So keep this thing in mind. You find this in this Afghanistan. Direct taxes has gone up, and one of the reason is demonetization and GST. So this figures, you can keep these figures, or just remember this thing. These are some of the positive or merits of demonetization and GST. Exempt incubators. Incubators are organizations that provide hand-holding services to startup. Most of them are NGOs, and these incubators they provide expert knowledge, or they provide you guidance and things to these startups. So they are known as startup incubators. And they have also argued that this startup companies should be provided with tax breaks on things that they buy, like software, hardware, and communication equipments and things. So this is a way of supporting startup. And they have also this FICCI and during this FICCI Food World India 2018, many leaders of FICCI and Yes Bank, they have said that incubators should also be exempted from taxes and customs duty, so that they can support this startups. And then you have this Kerala and Punjab. Only thing that you have to remember here is that Niti Aayog is preparing this health index report applicable throughout our country. These are your answers. These are your two questions. This one is about our pen tab and tablet courses. Do visit studyiq.com to know more about it. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion here. I will see you all soon tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, but yes, I am going to come out with Sunday analysis, so do check it out, and I will see you all soon. Till then, enjoy your studies and do give to share this lecture with someone else as well. Enjoy your Saturday, enjoy your weekend. Jai Hind.